Hi, my name is Evelyn Rothenberg. I'm a certified functional nutrition and lifestyle practitioner, and I live in the Findhorn community in Scotland, UK. I help people with digestive and other health issues with changing their diet and lifestyle. Today, I'd like to talk to you about cooking your own meals from scratch and how you can do that in a way that it's not too overwhelming and actually doable. If you like my videos, please subscribe and give me a thumbs up. I'm aiming to post a video every other week. Okay, so let's start with the presentation. Cooking from scratch, how to make it doable. So the first question is, why would you want to cook from scratch? Well, of course, if you want to have a whole food diet, like using whole foods, you're using less processed foods. And processed foods and also foods from takeaways, etc., are usually less healthy because they have worse ingredients like cheaper oils and lots of additives that can really mess up your gut health. So to start with shopping, there are some shortcuts there. Online shopping can be quite time-saving. I experienced that in lockdown when I didn't want to go into the shops and started ordering food online. Basically, I had a list already made, and I would just tick the foods because I usually buy sort of the same. And then they would deliver it to my door, and I didn't have to drive all the way there. So that was good. As I said, ready meals and processed foods are not great, but there are some ready-made-ish things that are actually fine. So one of those is washed and packaged salads. Also pre-cut vegetables can be very handy. And one of the things I think a lot of people don't use, but it would be great to use, are frozen vegetables and fruit. You can have many different ones like chopped up onions, butternut squash cubes, minced garlic. There's loads and loads there, and it's very handy to have them in your freezer, and you can grab a handful of spinach or broccoli or beans or whatever and make a meal in no time. Just really practical. And then there are some ready-made products that are actually okay, like fresh hummus and pesto and those kind of things. Then after shopping, it's a good idea to take some time, and I always do this, to just take like 5 minutes to unpack your shop and store it away in your fridge. So I usually take whatever is still in my vegetable drawer, take that out, put the new stuff in, put the old stuff on top so I don't forget them and they go all slimy and horrible in the bottom of the drawer. And then also what I like to do is to wash any greens like kales and salads and dry them in the salad spinner and then tear them already in small pieces and then store them in a big jar in the fridge. I also like to cut up broccoli and cauliflowers into florets, and also, I don't know if you use, but you can actually peel and chop the stems too and use those. When you have them ready, it's much easier and much more attractive to start cooking a meal when those things are already there. And then I like to scrub carrots and cut them into sticks as well and keep them in a jar with water or a glass. They will keep for quite some time, and then I can easily take a few out and dip them in some hummus and have a healthy snack. So how to organize all this? One thing is that is important, I think, is to do some thinking ahead. Some people plan their meals for a week. I don't do that, so I can't really teach you how to do that because I have no experience with that. But I do always think one day ahead. This means like after dinner, when we have done the washing up. I think like, what's happening tomorrow? Who's going to be away? Do I need to take something out of the freezer? Who's going to cook? So, and that is really helpful. Another one thing you can do is just cook a larger dinner than just needed for that evening, and then have the leftovers for lunch or for breakfast or for the next day. Batch cooking is also a good idea, and I'll come back to that, but you can make soup, big soup, stew, roasted vegetables. Dressings is very handy to have at hand and very easy to make. Then there are some really clever gadgets that are not, some are not too expensive, but can make the process of cooking a lot faster and easier. And really important is also to make it enjoyable. If you want to do like a food prep, put on some nice music or a podcast or, an audio book. Ask your partner to do it with you or your child. It's just, make it into something nice to do. So one gadget I use almost every day is a stick blender. I use it for blending soups and other liquid foods. I have one, I actually have this one. I have one with a metal foot. I've had it for at least 15 years, I think. So knock on wood that it keeps going. The metal foot is really important because the plastic foods will disintegrate after some time. And this one works really well and also has a strong motor, so strong high wattage. I will see if I can put a link to this one in the comments, in the description box. So I use that for blending soups, but you can also make smoothies, and with a little contraption like this one, you can chop up nuts and chop up very quickly, like onions, garlic, ginger, and all those kinds of things. Really handy, use it a lot. I also use it for making a small batch of like energy balls I think this, if you don't have kitchen machines, this is a good starting point. Very, very, very handy is a slow cooker. The thing with a slow cooker is that you can put your ingredients in there, put it on low, leave the house, and come back to a warm meal. It's just amazing. It's an amazing thing, and it has saved many, many people from ordering a takeaway. You come home, there's a meal ready, and it's warm and it's smelling nice. I can also put a link in the description box for this one. A bit more expensive. I think this one is about £100. But it's really handy. Is a multi-cooker. I have this model that's called Instant Pot. I use it for cooking grains, beans, making bone broth, heating up leftovers with the steamer, and we make yogurt every week. So we use this one a lot. I like that it is also an electric pressure cooker. So I used to have a pressure cooker that you would put on the hob, but I was always afraid to leave the house when that thing was hissing and puffing. And this Instant Pot, because it's an electric pressure cooker, it's just self-regulating. I put it on and I have no worries leaving the house. So a great tool, I think. So some batch cooking ideas for you. You could make a big pot of hearty soup, like a soup that is really more like a meal, which you can have with a little piece of bread or something and have a good meal, like a lentil soup or a pumpkin soup. I can put a link to a recipe to a very nice and popular lentil soup in the description box. Also, a stew is a great idea, making a big one or making a bolognese sauce or other pasta sauce to have that ready for the week. I like to cook a larger batch of grains, like if I cook rice or quinoa or millet, You cook like 4 times as much as I need, and I store what I have left over in small jars and freeze them. I do the same for beans and lentils, so I buy them dried, I soak them overnight, cook them in the morning, and then put them in jars and freeze them. A lentil dal is a great one to make a big batch of, and also roasted vegetables or a roasted chicken. Freezing in jars, I had a lot of questions about this, so that's why I'd like to talk into that a bit more. The way I do it, they hardly ever crack. I use small jars, like the size of the almond and cashew butter jars, and so they're really, really not very big. There's a sort of 1-person portions. I don't fill them completely to the top, so leave some space. You need to use sort of straight jars and not ones with a big shoulder like this one. So it needs to be more straight because it could crack at the shoulder. I don't use really large jars. One is they crack more easily, but also it takes more time to defrost them. It can take ages. So, and when you've put your beans or food into them, first cool them in the fridge, maybe overnight, make sure they're really cold, and then put them in the freezer. And when you want to start using them again, take them out of the freezer the night before and defrost them in the fridge. I don't like to use plastic too much on my food if it's not necessary, so that's why I love freezing in jars. So that was my little information. If you want to know more about me, I have a lively Facebook group. It's a closed group. It's called Down to Earth Functional Nutrition. I do free talks on Zoom every other week on Wednesday, 7 p.m. UK time. At the moment, I have a Write Your Own Timeline course coming up where I teach you how to look back on your life and look at health issues and how they came about. This is very useful if you want to have more clarity about what has been causing your symptoms and what you can do about them. I also do an anti-inflammatory diet and lifestyle course. That's a 6-week course. At the moment, I'm running one, but there will be a new one. If you want to keep an eye out for my other courses, go to my website, www.evelynrodenburg.co.uk. And if you need some help with your health issues, you tried a lot and you're not getting where you want, please consider working with me or somebody else. You can book a free exploratory call where I can hear a bit more from you and I can explain how I work. Let me know in the comments what makes it hard for you to cook from scratch. Which one tip is your main takeaway from this presentation? And what are you committing to change this coming week? I love to hear more from you and see you next time. Bye now.